joined now by North Dakota Governor, who did really well, I thought, on the stage on Wednesday, Doug Burgum. Governor, what has the reaction been from Wednesday's debate so far as you can tell?
Well, first of all, Clay, great to be on with you. But wow, the reaction's been terrific. I think people like two things, which is this guy's got a lot to say about economy, energy, and national security. And then the second thing they're saying is, why was Fox News trying to shut him down, threatening to cut off his microphone because he's got something to add to the conversation.
So before we get into Wednesday, the first debate, I don't know that I know the full story. You were playing basketball with your staff, and you injured yourself. How? That was one of the most amazing things I thought to happen before the Milwaukee debate. I don't know what you had spent on running for election, but getting injured playing pickup basketball was probably the one thing on the board that you did not have contemplated. What happened there?
Well, first of all, I've played basketball my entire life, and I've been blessed with having I've got enormous gratitude for my legs. I mean, between, marathons, 10Ks, basketball, 35 years of organized softball, all the stuff I've done, barefoot water skiing, climbing mountains, never have had a knee or ankle injury. So, hey, we're in Milwaukee. The debate's at the Buck Stadium. We got Marquette, a basketball powerhouse. And they're like, we're going to get a chance to go shoot some hoops over at Marquette. I'm like, I'm in. And so we're over there and went from, shooting around a horse to, hey, let's play some pickup, a little more competitive, and then got going anyway. I ended up blowing my Achilles. It completely ruptured it. And this is like 28 hours before the debate. So I don't know if you heard, in the first debate, it was named the best presidential debate performance ever by an individual standing on one leg.
So hold on. What's your staff's reaction when you go down and you're like, I think I tore my Achilles? Like, could you tell immediately? Did you feel a pop? I mean, this feels like something that would happen in a television show, because I can only imagine your staff. Did anybody bump into you? Did anybody try to challenge a shot? Was it non-contact? I got to know how this happened.
Well, having played ball my whole life and having done some really fun peak experience, like going to the Michael Jordan basketball camp in 1998, right after he won his sixth championship. My coaches there were Dean Smith and John Thompson.
That is badass. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's been a great sport. But 3 times in my career, having played, organized league ball, winning state tournaments for the, under 30, over 50, all this stuff. 3 times I've been on the court when people blown their Achilles. Each time they went down, no one was near them. Each time they were on the floor, and they said, somebody kicked me. Who kicked me?
Yeah.
And I went down. I was trying to break the other guy's ankles, put on a move. Boom, I go down, and they said, first thing I said was, who kicked me?
Yeah.
And I heard myself say that, and then they said, did you sprain your ankle? And I said, no, I ruptured my Achilles. And they're like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You're okay. Walk it off. I said, no, I ruptured my Achilles. And they're like, how do you know? Because this is apparently what people say when they rupture their Achilles. And now when you have it, and then it's national news, not quite like Aaron Rodgers. I didn't make
what did you think when you saw Aaron Rodgers? I mean, that had to be I imagine your recovery process while you're on the trail is super difficult as well.
Yeah, it is. And then somebody showed me the close-up video of you could actually see the ripple in his sock, and that kind of turned my stomach a little bit, so I only watched that once. But yeah, that's exactly what it feels. It feels like a little bit like someone just took a hatchet and hit you in the back of the calf when you weren't looking. But anyway, we have a phrase in North Dakota, cowboy up. I mean, I had 24 hours, and people said, oh, you're not going to be able to stand up there for 2 hours. And I said, I got one good leg. I can do that. So that's what we did on the first one. But this one was a lot more fun because I was not in extreme pain like I was during the first debate.
Oh. So here's what I love about what I have been able to glean from you so far. You have an incredible business background. I still think a lot of our audience doesn't know you. So I'm going to ask you to give a quick bio for this audience. But you have an incredible business background. You've built, I think I'm correct in this, a multi-billion-dollar business in a place where I don't think a lot of people contemplate multi-billion-dollar tech businesses being built in North Dakota. I'm curious how you did that. And then you have used that business knowledge, which is what I love, because you've had to make payroll and you've had to understand the challenges that come with running a for-profit business, which, frankly, most politicians haven't. You've translated those skills to running a state efficiently. I like that combo. I think to a large extent that's what Trump was able to appeal to. Obviously, he had no political background before, but how has business aided you in your political career? And quickly, your background for people out there listening to us right now that may not still be that familiar with you.
Well, thank you, Clay. Quick story is, I grew up in a town of 300 people. This town had, gravel streets, one paved road, the state highway running through it, not a computer in the town. Fabulous place to grow up. Every job I had, working at the farm, the ranch, the grain elevator, started a little construction company, putting up steel bins with buddies like when we were in high school. Actually worked as a chimney sweep to pay my way through North Dakota State undergrad. All of that stuff was jobs where I took a shower at the end of the day. I mean, I understand what it is to get up and work all day long in, really some of the, some of the jobs I had at the elevator should be on the episode of World's Dirtiest Jobs. Anyway, you do that, you understand and appreciate what it's like to, for a paycheck. When I'm 13 years old, my dad dies. He's a World War II Navy vet. My mom had to go back to work, widow, 3 kids. I know what it's like to have economic insecurity, and for somebody, a single mom, working to do that. Now, fast forward, I'm in my mid-20s, and I got 160 acres of farm ground, which is in dry land wheat farming. That's not enough to actually farm. You can't be a farmer in North Dakota. You need 1,000. In those days, 1,000 acres. Now it's thousands to be able to have an economic unit for dry land farming. But I had that ground, and I'd seen my first Apple II computer, and I'm like, that's going to change the world. So I literally took a mortgage out on the farm. I bet the farmland I got from my dad, which you never do. That's a giant no-no when it's been, homesteaded and paid for. But I did it, and that was the capital. You couldn't get venture capital in those days. No one had heard of a software company, and we started with less than 10 people, and we built a 2,000-person company. We had a great run as a public company, got acquired for $1.1 billion. And then I stayed there and then continued to build that into even a much larger business as part of a larger operation. So I've had people working for me in 120 countries, customers all over the world, in some of the largest, employees working for me in the largest cities, places where you didn't have I had team members that didn't have the right to vote. They didn't have the right to assemble, right to bear arms. I mean, you build an appreciation for this country when you see what the rest of the world is. But having that experience and then saying, hey, I'm going to run for governor. People said, oh, you can't win. You've never done it. You're down 50 points in the poll. We ended up winning in 16 and in 2020 by over 40 points, largest margins of any governor races in the country in those years we won by, because we just said, hey, we're going to treat the taxpayer like a customer. We're going to have the technology background, how we're going to make government services more efficient and effective, and we're going to serve everybody. We're not just working for the party that elected us, because when you get elected, when you're in the executive branch, you work for everybody. Everybody drives on the roads. When we have a blizzard in North Dakota, which, by the way, is the size of all 6 New England states, when we have a blizzard, we plow the roads for the independents, the Democrats, the Republicans, you name it. We're plowing the roads for everybody, and that's what it is for all the stuff. Our schools, our healthcare, all the stuff we're involved in. I don't know how this became so divisive and politicized. Great, do that in Congress. Put on a jersey, red jersey, blue jersey, and and throw bombs at each other. But the executive branch has got to be red, white, and blue. We're doing it for everybody.
Do you think Joe Biden's going to be the Democrat nominee?
If he's alive, yeah, he will be. And I think the only scenario in the possible world would be somehow, which is an impossible thing, so I think it's near zero, but if somehow Donald Trump was not in the race or just said, hey, I'm going to, take my billions and go, retire or do something. If he said he was going to be out, they'd be in a panic, because the one thing that's holding the Democrat Party together is our former president, because they use him for fundraising. They use him for getting out the vote. They use him for, motivating their base. And I think Biden doesn't exist without Trump in 2024. I mean, they would, without Trump, I think, because that's the one person that they think they can beat. He can be the rallying cry for the Democrats to win. And so it's just an interesting thing. But I'm not a pundit. I'm not running to be a pundit. I'm running to be president. I'm running against Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's policies on economy, energy, and national security are completely 100%, 180 degrees in the wrong direction. And that's why we've got this high inflation and high interest rates. That's why we're trying to kill the U.S. energy industry, and we're empowering dictators. Buy EV batteries from China, and then when you kill the U.S. oil industry, I guess we'll just buy all of our oil and gas from Venezuela and in OPEC, because the demand for energy globally is not going down. When you kill the U.S. energy industry, other people replace it. Russia, Venezuela, OPEC, these guys replace that production, and it makes they produce it dirtier than we do. So these environmentalists that think they're saving the world by driving an EV or shutting down a pipeline in the U.S., all it does is just displace demand. That demand comes from people that don't have EPAs, that don't care about the environment the way we do, and the world environment becomes worse. And so that's why I say 180 degrees. If you cared about the environment, you would be insisting that we build pipelines in the U.S., that we use clean U.S. energy, that we have every drop and every electron made in our country, not someplace else. And then, of course, if we do that, that's how we win the Cold War with China, because China imports 10 million barrels of oil a day. The one tool we could use to win a Cold War with China is food security and energy security, and our diplomats, the 4 cabinet leaders that have been there this year, don't even bring those two topics up because they're too busy trying to regulate our own country out of business.
I asked you about Biden. You obviously would be running against him in theory if he were there, but Donald Trump is a prohibitive favorite right now. Why are you a better choice than Donald Trump?
Well, I think that the real answer lies here in having competition for the Republican Party, and the voters in Iowa and New Hampshire are going to get to decide that. When I look at the polls in New Hampshire and I say, hey, if you got the leader at 42%, that means 58% of the people today, 3 months before, they don't even have there's lots of new information. You know, people like you that may not have heard of me 2 weeks ago. Everybody in the country has all the information they can on Donald Trump. You can't really add more information into it. Every voter's already made up their mind. So between now and January, those 58% of the people that are looking around for alternatives, that's a majority. You know, ignore the national polls. There isn't campaigns happening nationally. They're happening in Iowa and New Hampshire right now. That's the real signal, not the noise. And those folks are looking, and there's a lot of new information we can put in to say, hey, here's someone, as you said, that's got, you know, I've been making payroll every 2 weeks since my mid-20s. I've created more jobs than all those other candidates that I was on the stage on with the other night, and likely the former president himself with all the companies that I've been involved with in the job creation. And they're high-paying jobs with meaning is what I've been involved in the tech industry. And now we're in a world where every job, every company, and every industry is changing. We're in a cyber war every day. Wouldn't it be amazing to have someone in the White House that actually understood what it meant to be a working American, and have somebody who understood the technology of what it's going to take for us to improve our military, secure our borders, and supercharge our economy? That would be cool. And I hear that from all the time. And people are like, why don't we just get a common guy to actually run who's got high executive function, who's proven he can get it done at the state level? And in North Dakota, we've got the highest GDP of any Republican-led state. We're on track to have the highest in the country. We've got among the highest education scores. We aren't having the issues that folks are having in some of these large cities. We understand borders, a 360-mile border with Canada. And I had software in 1989. My software was getting stolen by China. Some people discovered China, you know, in the last month. You know, when I've been saying for a long time we're in a Cold War with China because they were stealing my software 34 years ago. When I walked into a street market in China, and there was Great Plains software for $1 for a 5 1/4 inch floppy in 1989. They've stolen trillions from us. So someone who's got the experience I have and the ability to mobilize great high-performing teams, you know, I think it's an interesting thing. And voters are going to get a chance to decide in Iowa and New Hampshire if they think that's interesting in January.
He's Doug Burgum, governor of North Dakota. If people want to find out more, where should they go online?
DougBurgum.com.
Outstanding stuff. I appreciate you coming on. Good luck as this process continues to play itself out, Governor.
Clay, love to be back on. Thanks for letting me run and introduce myself to your audience, but appreciate everything you're doing and appreciate the opportunity to be on with you. And thank you for those nice comments you made the other night. Everybody in my family just wants me to say thank you, Clay.
Well, I hope I thank you, your family, for those kind words, and also good luck recovering on that Achilles. I mean, that has to be crazy to be traveling and working as hard as you can while you're recovering simultaneously. And I hope you get back on the basketball court soon.
Well, thank you. And I did want to say, if anybody wants to have a contest on who's got the strongest right leg, I'm ready to go right now after 5 weeks on one leg. But we'll be back for sure. We'll slow it down. Thank you.